Hi, this is Pat Moorhead, and we are live in Las Vegas at AWS reInvent 2022 in the Dell Technologies booth. Daniel, this is wild. I mean, things are happening everywhere. People are drinking already, and we're not. What's happening?
Yeah, it's always a great time here at AWS reInvent. We love taking the 6.5 show on the road. And you know, there's so much going on in the world, but anyone that's doubting the importance of technology in the long term just needs to show up here for like 5 minutes and walk around and feel the energy and just say, all right, wow, the
Good
cloud,
job,
hybrid cloud, the story, it's getting really exciting, Pat.
Well, I am feeling it for sure, and the amazing part as I look back is 10 years ago, it was AWS and some of its public cloud folks, but boy, has this industry shifted. I mean, we're 15 years into the public cloud and only 10-20% of the data and the applications are in the public cloud. And the rest is on-prem, it's in the edge, it's in colo, it's everywhere. And we basically all agree that the world is hybrid, and quite frankly, it's multi-cloud, but some people aren't there
The
yet.
definition's moving, it's a little malleable, but I smell opportunity.
Yes.
And whether your observability, your software, your security, your infrastructure, you're here.
Yes.
You're here. I hate to say it because it might be a little rude to everybody out there, but it's kind of like if you're in the tech space, in the big infrastructure, enterprise, and you're not here, you probably should be asking yourself a question, why?
Now, I think we should maybe introduce our guest.
I think
What do
it's
you think?
time. Very excited.
Varun, great to see you.
Thank
How
you,
are
Pat.
you?
Thanks, Daniel. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. You know, when we do our first video, we talk a little bit too long to bring in the guest. But man, I am so glad to see you.
Likewise.
Are we self-critiquing already?
Possibly.
Okay.
No.
I mean, we're only on day one.
This is not your first time on the 6.5.
No,
It's great to have
I've been
you
here
back.
before, yeah. So it's great to be back.
Yeah.
Really, really excited. And as you said, you know, the energy around here is just so infectious. It's unbelievable. Daniel, you put it best. Like if you're in the tech space and you're not here, you've got to ask yourself why.
I absolutely could not agree more. So, Varun Chhabra, I guess let's start off. You've been on our show. You've had a few really big, important roles, and I remember breaking bread with you probably 4 or 5 years pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Near the Domain in Austin.
Yes, I
We're
was
Austin
there.
guys.
Yes.
You were there. I was there.
Yeah.
But you know, for everybody out there, you are an alumni, but they haven't met you before. Give everyone the quick who I am, what I'm doing for Dell. You know, give them the color.
Yeah, sure. So, as you guys said, Varun Chhabra, I'm now at Dell now for 7.5 years. So I actually worked at Dell longer than anywhere else, which I'm really, really proud of. I'm a Senior Vice President of Product Marketing, and my teams are responsible for infrastructure. So that's storage, HCI, servers, data protection, multi-cloud platforms, multi-cloud storage, DevOps solutions, as well as our edge and telecom portfolio. And then we also have team members who are focused on our Apex solutions. So, so as I said, I've done a bunch of roles at Dell in the last 7.5 years, starting from storage product marketing to cloud to unstructured data, et cetera, all over the place. It's been a fun ride.
Well, we talked to primarily veterans in the industry, and I guess as I look back, you know, 11 years ago when we even started our firm, we were one of these crazy analyst firms that talked about the private cloud and the hybrid cloud, and you know, I understand why there was such an aghast reaction initially, but Dell Technologies and a lot of the things that you're working on are reinforcing and making analysts like me look really smart, and whether it's the hybrid cloud or the multi-cloud. So
We call this a victory lap, by the way.
I do that. We have some big announcements this week here at AWS reInvent. Can you talk about the highlights? And listen, I know you love all of your children the best, but give us the highlights.
Look, I think what is really amazing about what's happening in the cloud industry, you mentioned it. You know, we're 15 years in, but it still feels like it's early days. It's such a dynamic space, and you know, we have transitioned from people being on one cloud or testing the waters on one cloud and then saying, I'm going to be only in one cloud, I'm going to move everything to one cloud, to now, I think we're in a world where people are realizing it's going to be a multi-cloud world where there's on-prem, there's colo, there's edge increasingly. I mean, we don't quite understand how much even edge is going to change this model. But what we find when we talk to customers more than anything else is complexity, right? And as veterans of the IT industry, it's kind of funny. Every time there's a technology inflection,
it's always about it's about or.
Or.
Like you're going to abandon this technology and go to something else.
And the promise is like, it's going to get rid of all of your complexity.
Yeah.
And what happens 10 years later, there's always more complexity because it's always an and, it's not an or, right?
I think the CEO of Basecamp came out this week and he wrote like a big letter about how they're basically moving back on-prem. And obviously we've seen the A16Z conversation, the cloud economics, and I think the reason he gets to do a victory lap, and I'm not a huge fan of letting him do those, by the way, but
I don't know, he did say you had the best point. You caught that, right?
I don't, but I'm not scorekeeping in my head.
Yes, I know you did.
But what we are seeing is that it was kind of like we were going to try to get to the end, and the end was going to be everything was going to be done in the public cloud. And it didn't take very long for people to be like, that's not going to work. Yeah. There's economics, there's technological reasons, there's technology debt and legacy. So it isn't going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and you brought up the base capping example, but I mean, if you think about the sliding scale of cloud adoption and where companies are, I mean, Basecamp, I'm assuming started all in on public cloud. There's so many companies we work with who are, as you were saying, Pat, the majority of their applications and data, the overwhelming, still on-prem. Now, they have aspirations to redress that balance and change it, but it's going to be a journey, right? I think that's what we're finding more than anything else.
But I think we can all agree, first of all, the world is hybrid. It's going to be a combination of on-prem or colo or on the edge and in the public cloud. And
multiple public clouds.
Yeah, and multi-cloud, multiple clouds. And the funny part is, I have yet to talk to a single enterprise, and I talk to a Fortune 500 enterprise probably once a week. And there is not a single one that doesn't have multi-cloud, but they have duplicative DevSecOps to go across it, and that is just not efficient as it could be or should be.
There's silos, there's more operational silos than ever before, going back to the complexity. There's, as you said, DevOps, SecOps, there's silos all over the place, and if you go back to kind of what you were asking about, what we're going to talk about at the event or what we are talking about, it really is about helping customers make sense of this multi-cloud world and finding ways to reduce complexity. Just in terms of some of the announcements we've made, to me it's kind of amazing over the last few years, especially over the last couple of years, just to see how much we work with customers that are using AWS. People think of Dell as a hardware company, but really customers are increasingly asking us to do more with them in the cloud as they move to the cloud, as they move applications to the cloud, or as they bring applications back or have a more dynamic balance. So we announced our enterprise-grade projects, cloud block storage, PowerFlex. We announced last week that it's now available in the marketplace. It's a huge step for us. I mean,
big surprise to me, by the way, because PowerFlex is, and it still is, literally this power emanates from it. So many of your customers are doing good with it.
And it's massive scale. Like we have customers who are, we have a government agency that is running or supporting, 90 different state agencies running multiple nodes. It's really built for scale, enterprise grade. So bringing it to AWS is a no-brainer for us and for our customers, because customers want that consistency. They want the same tool sets. But it's not just about storage. Data protection. That's one of the best kept secrets about Dell, I would say, is that a lot of people think of us as a hardware company. We've been deploying or helping customers deploy data protection software in the cloud or in the public cloud for a long, long time. In fact, we continuously get metrics back on how much data we protected. We have over 14 exabytes of data protected in the public cloud. A large proportion of that is in AWS. So whether it's storage, data protection, or even DevOps with supporting EKS, like as EKS Anywhere is now extending into the kind of more hybrid scenarios, being able to support customers' dev test operations. You build once, deploy anywhere, that kind of model. There's co-innovation, and customers are asking us for that simplicity across both on-prem and off-prem across the board.
It's interesting. I am not surprised at all. My take is that Dell's always been a company that's kind of prided itself on being where the customer is.
Yes.
And so,
Very pragmatic company.
Yes, exactly.
Like
exactly.
you know if Dell's there, it's happening. There's real business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, when you kind of say you're going to do it, I've watched some of the things, like, I still remember the Snowflake partnership, and at first you kind of blink and you're like, and then you're like, actually this makes quite a bit of sense, because that looks a lot like what most enterprises do.
Yeah.
Most enterprises can't get away with a 100% data being warehoused in the public cloud. That's not the reality. So Dell's saying, how do we enable our hundreds of thousands of customers around the globe to be there, but be able to where they are?
Yeah, without having to move their data, and make it simple.
Which sort of takes me to a next maybe topic that I'd love to have you kind of delve into is the theme that we're seeing is that the trend line from prem to cloud and cloud to prem is it's like two trains.
Ground to cloud, cloud to ground,
colliding towards each other though, is over the last few years you've seen every big cloud providers doing more to make on-prem work. And every on-prem is building more connectors to the public cloud, but why is it so important and why is Dell so heavily invested in making this work? Because, we kind of alluded to it, but I'd love to kind of get your inside take.
Look, it really comes back to what customers are asking us for, right? And going back to that sliding scale of cloud adoption, if you think about two extremes, right? Customers who are still early in their journey of adopting public cloud for their applications, and then the other extreme is customers who are, maybe born in the cloud, if you will, right? And what we're finding is there's, as you guys were saying, is a constant reevaluation of what the right model is, and there's no right answer for every customer, right? So if you think about customers who are still early in their cloud journey or have made some adoption, have driven some adoption for public cloud, but they still have 60, 70, 80% of their data and apps on-prem, which is, quite frankly, most of our customers, they're looking for the same capabilities that they rely on us for storing their data, protecting their data, crunching analytics, running AI workflows, et cetera. As they move applications to the cloud, they want to do it in a way that's, or to the public cloud, I should say, they want to do it in a way that's not disruptive. They can use the same tool sets. So that's kind of the ground to cloud. It's quite a tongue twister. Ground to cloud modality, and then for cloud to ground, it's like things like what you were saying with the born in the cloud companies who are realizing, depending on their use case, hey, I've got to think about it slightly differently. We had a video analytics company, this is 2 or 3 years ago, that reached out to us. They were born in the cloud in the Bay Area, and their model was, hey, customers are going to store their advertising data on video advertising data or video ads on their platform, and then they'll run analytics all the time. And guess what they found? As this company was, supporting more and more queries, that data, their egress costs were becoming like 30, 40% of their company's overall operating expenditure, right? So they came to us and said, look, we've got to figure out a new model. How do we bring some of this on-prem so that we can reduce some of our egress costs? So anyway, I think on both sides, there's just a need for enterprise-grade capabilities and have that consistent experience there.
One question that I get a lot, Varun, is, Dell, well, first of all, Dell Technologies is #1 in almost every category of infrastructure. I see it every earnings. Number one. That one slide.
Yeah. #1 in everything, that's what we say,
you put a lot of effort in that. What's the experience like shifting from, and it's not shifting, it's the experience on Dell infrastructure versus, let's say, Dell software, which, by the way, I applaud, you guys are in the software business, surprise, operating on AWS infrastructure. How's the experience? How do you make it a similar experience?
And really the answer comes down to Apex, right? You guys have been along the journey with us. Apex is really our initiative to kind of bring all of our multi-cloud and as-a-service innovation in one place, give customers that consistent experience, and really the genesis of Apex is bringing some of the things that people love about public cloud and the things they like about private cloud everywhere they run infrastructure, right? So, you were asking about hardware, software. It's, as the model for us as we think about multi-cloud is very simple. It's really two pillars. One is we want to deliver innovation increasingly as either as software or services. So software is self-evident, right? It could be SaaS, it could be going to the AWS marketplace and then downloading and deploying it on EC2 like we do with PowerFlex. With services is essentially transforming the hardware infrastructure business to a more outcome-led experience for customers, right? So that's one pillar, software and services. The other pillar is really partnerships, right? Multi-cloud is not, even for some of the largest public cloud vendors, right? It's not going to be something that they can solve all the customer challenges on their own, right? So we think that partnering with vendors up and down the stack, it could be all the way down into the silicon to IaaS providers, to PaaS providers, to SaaS providers. That's really going to be what the success is going to be like. And you talked about Dell's heritage. Another one of Dell's heritage is we've always been an open ecosystem champion, whether it's on our servers, on laptops, etc. So I think it feels like it's something that we typically do a lot very well. So
we spent some time on the partners, we spent some time on the ecosystem, spend a little time on the customer. How are they adapting to sort of this pivot narrative? Like, of course, again, we started as cloud versus prem, and now we're moving to this hybrid, and now you're, like you said, but you're still fighting for, do I start with the public cloud and work back, or is Dell our main partner in extensibility to the cloud?
Yeah.
How's that sort of evolving, and as you've matured, are the customers getting more comfortable? Any good stories you could share?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for a company with a customer base as large as Dell's, there just isn't any one answer, right? And you guys said it. We want to be where the customers are. So if you're on the spectrum where you're starting early, we've got services, we've got professional services to help customers rationalize the infrastructure. So sometimes that is the way things go. In many cases, it's also the other way around. So it really depends on what customers are looking for, where they are in their transformation journey. What I will say though is that it's still amazing to me. There's so much that customers, partners, and vendors are still figuring out about the potential of this kind of new world we live in. So a lot of it is really co-creation and figuring out use cases. And in some cases it means going down the vertical rat hole or rabbit hole and saying, hey, we're going to build vertical solutions. Sometimes it means kind of horizontal platforms that scale across the board, like we did with Edge recently with Project Frontier.
Are you seeing customers gravitate toward certain Dell services first? I know you started in backup for a reason, but why there? Why start there as opposed to compute as a service or something like that?
I think it depends a lot on customer use cases, and we think we can add unique value and then also time to market, right? So with something like backup, where we have software assets that are differentiated, we've got Dedupe that leads the market, where we've got relationships with customers that are looking for those models. I think that drives a lot of this. And that's the reason why with what we're doing with Project Alpine, with storage, like what we did with PowerFlex here, is kind of the next frontier, if you will, for what we're trying to do here. So a lot of it is driven by where we think we can add unique value. Things like compute as a service, those are on the roadmap as well. Like we want to expand to deliver a full platform for our customers that they can use wherever they're running infrastructure.
Listen, I thought it made a lot of sense because you're really good at that. And what a lot of people don't know is you have a very large managed service business doing that for customers already. And the transition to Apex is really taking what you're doing for a ton of managed service and productizing it, simplifying the front end to the back end. So instead of having hundreds of customers, you can have hundreds and thousands of customers doing it.
And it really requires also, I think, a complete end-to-end reinvention of all of our value chain, right? Like, so starting from how we source materials to how we deliver them on time to customers. There's time to value guarantees in there or expectations, but even how we sell. Like, there's just so much change that's happening. So that's another reason why businesses that are very high volume, like compute, you want to make sure the systems are working first before you kind of put a lot of your kind of massive franchises on that.
Yeah, I'm really watching Apex closely, and I'm sure you are too, Pat. this is sort of what I would consider a real inflection point for Dell.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Seeing if the customer can really migrate from one common purchasing behavior to a new one, which by the way, is something that they've come to become comfortable with as an operating model.
In the public cloud already.
But haven't necessarily completely gotten used to when it comes to the capital expenditures of their own infrastructure. But I think to your point, like it does seem like, you and I like crawl charts. We love a good crawl chart. It seems like every one of the companies that's sort of doing this prem to cloud motion is kind of a crawl chart of services. You're not going to be able to offer the full complement of services, but there are these common core, high volume, necessary services that are very difficult to do in the public cloud for these companies that have big on-prem. And it seems like that's the starting point, and you build out from there to more
unique IP, unique value, and then also there's, like I was saying, you just have to build the platform to be able to support kind of your larger sources as well, and you want to work up towards that.
Well, when I look at 10 years ago, we used to debate, what is the cloud? What is the cloud model, right? It's scalable, it might have DevOps, it's simple, it's a card swipe, and then you stand back and you're like, okay, I can get that on-prem too. It's the cloud, just in a slightly different way. And if you look at how most people make big public cloud purchases, they're not swiping the credit card. Those might be the developers. It is like 2-year, 3-year commitments, which is kind of a major commitment that might make sense. So location is becoming less important. We're here. Now, final question for you. How do people learn more about what's going on at Dell this week?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, if you're at reInvent and attending in person, highly encourage everyone to drop by our booth right here. There's presentations every 30 minutes on kind of where we're helping customers with their AWS journey. You can see here, Ask the Experts. There's whiteboard sessions. We've got technical staff here.
I thought this was us. I thought we were the experts.
We're the opening act for the Ask the Experts.
Marker.
I'll put signs here. Yeah.
Pseudo experts.
But whiteboarding sessions, presentations in the booth. We also have, if you're not attending, there's blogs, there's things on Dell.com.
I'm pretty sure Future Research did a Project Alpine white paper. We did
How about that?
On the Apex story.
Gosh, I haven't read it, Dan. I might have to go and do this.
I can't believe sometimes to hear that you're just not sitting at home, strapped to your chair, reading
Dan's white papers.
My white papers.
Dan's white papers.
It's like why we all went to grad school.
Yeah.
So, Varun, I want to thank you so much for joining us here
for having me,
the 6.5 on the road, in the booth. It's kind of like a hybrid.
I know.
On the road, in the booth. With Dell at AWS reInvent. But Varun, it's always great to talk to you.
Likewise.
Very excited about the direction Dell is heading. We're very bullish on it. It's going to be a great journey to continue to watch. And there's a bunch more conversations with some of his colleagues here, so I hope everybody out there can go ahead and tune into those.
Yeah, hopefully I haven't turned anybody off from all the other conversations, but you guys were great.
You did great.
Not at all. No, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
So this is Pat, Dan, and Varun here in the booth at the Dell Technologies booth at AWS reInvent. We really appreciate you tuning in. If you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button. If you have questions, comments, you know where to find Dan and I. We spend way too much time on social media. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're on the planet. Thanks again.